this, with having worked for Whyte Mackay for 40 years, this is one of the most exciting projects I've ever worked with. And it will be of historical benefit, not just to revere Sir Ernest Shackleton's name, but it will also hopefully show that once again that Scotch whisky is the #1 spirit of the world. Well, obviously this goes back to 2007 February, when we were told about the find. We were told there was some whisky, but we didn't know what it was, and it wasn't until 2010, believe it or not, that they unearthed 3 cases, and we were told obviously it was confirmed as being Mackinlay's. But we didn't know if the whisky was in a stable condition. We didn't even know if there was any whiskies left in the bottles. So that's what's taken all this length of time. But finally, we were told, yes, the whisky's there. They could hear it sloshing around in the case, and they brought 1 case to the Antarctic Heritage Trust, where they looked at the bottles and they awaited permission for us to remove 3 bottles, and that's what we did over the last 4 days. So we flew out to New Zealand. We are allowed to have 3 bottles, which we've now got. This is one of them here. As you can see, it's been in the ice for over 100 years. It's very delicate. The paper, everything about it is extremely delicate, and we're going to extract the whisky with a syringe. We have to make sure that there is no damage whatsoever to the label and the capsule. So that's going to be quite difficult, especially in its very sensitive, delicate state. And we're going to have a look at it, and we're going to research and for the Scotch whisky industry to see what kind of whisky, what kind of style, what were the distilling practices are way back in the 19th century. Because you've got to remember, this is a whisky that's been in a fridge for over 100 years. It's been held in tandem, and this is a great research ahead of us, and we want to see what kind of whisky is really what it's all about. It could be a single malt, it could be a blended malt, it could even be a blended whisky, but the research, the analysis will have to give us these results. Is it a light style? Is it a heavy style? Is it a smoky style? These are questions, again, that will need to be answered over the next few weeks. Well, what happens now is that tomorrow morning, after hopefully catching up with a little sleep, we're going to put them back into these containers, and we're going to take them up north, and we're going to put them into a sealed unit, and we're going to slowly but surely extract the whisky, and then the analysis will begin. What's the strength, what's the age, what's the impact on the distillation, what kind of maturation went on, all these kind of exciting questions that will have to be answered over the next few weeks. Well, I've had the privilege and honour of sampling quite a number of blends and single malts from the 19th century, and in the main, generally these whiskies were very heavy. They were peated style whiskies, and I'm just wondering if this is the same. Again, we won't know until we extract the whisky. It was a very poignant moment. It was quite emotional, I have to be honest, because having worked with this for the last 4 years, to finally hold it and to be part of that great project is something that I'll never forget as far as I'm concerned, as long as I live. I'm delighted to say that our chairman, Dr. Vijay Mallya, actually offered his private jet for this, because this box that where the bottle sat in had to be with me the whole time in a cabin, and it had to be there with me, and he very kindly orchestrated that. He had no hesitation. He was a great supporter of the Antarctic Heritage Trust as well, and he brought it onto his plane from Christchurch. We literally flew in that day, and we flew out that day with these bottles, and they're safely here thanks to him.
The history in this room is just stunningly remarkable. I mean, these are the treasures of Whyte and Mackay.